For years, we've termed China's persecution of Uyghurs as crackdown. Now we know it's a genocide, a way to make the minority population shrink to the point that it disappears. The majority Han Chinese are encouraged to have more children. The minorities face jail, forced sterilisations and abortions for having kids. Their birth rates have plummeted. China's President Xi Jinping wants to wipe out minority populations. It's an understatement to call this a human rights violation. It's an indefensible crime, a crime against humanity that China continues to commit.
We lost a part of our body. We lost our identity as women. We will never be able to have children again. They've cut one of our organs. It's gone.
This is Zumre Dawood, an Uyghur Muslim woman. She can't have children anymore. China has forced birth control on her and many Uyghur women like her. Forced sterilisations, fetuses ripped from wombs in painful abortions, invasive pregnancy tests, and insertions of intrauterine devices without consent. China is carrying out a genocide on unborn Uyghurs, an inhuman attempt to slash birth rates among minorities, a terrifying mission to suppress their population.
They want to eliminate us, but they can't kill all of us. It's not possible because the world is watching. So they are doing it step by step with policies like sterilization, imprisonment, or separating men and women and making them work as forced laborers.
China wants minority populations to shrink. It sends Uyghurs to detention camps. In the last 4 years, this campaign has intensified in the far west region of Xinjiang. The police often raid homes, terrifying parents as they search for hidden children. Parents with 3 or more children are ripped away from their families. To avoid jail, they must pay huge fines. Millions of Uyghurs are in such camps, now being punished for having children. Their birth rates have dropped by more than 60% from 2015 to 2018. Across the Xinjiang region, birth rates fell 24% last year. For the rest of the country, the drop was barely 4%. China has dumped the one-child policy. But under Xi Jinping, it has unleashed a repressive birth control campaign. The majority Han Chinese can have more children. But Uyghurs and other minorities are punished for having 3 children, which is allowed by law. China is purging Uyghurs of their religion, faith and identity to make them look and act more Chinese. To erase the religious belief that the fetus is an act from God. When Xi Jinping came to power in 2013, over 200,000 IUDs were inserted in Xinjiang. By 2018, that figure jumped more than 60% to nearly 330,000 IUDs.
We now for the first time have clear and uncompromising evidence that the government is fulfilling one of the criteria of the United Nations Convention for the Prevention and Punishment of Genocide, namely the draconian suppression of minority births.
Now, independent UN human rights experts have called out the lack of fundamental freedoms in China. It's an unusually large group of UN experts, 50 of them. They have expressed grave concerns on the collective repression of specific communities, especially religious and ethnic minorities in Xinjiang and Tibet. The UN wants China to let its human rights team to carry out investigations. Over 120 countries allow such UN teams, but not China. In the last decade, only 5 teams have been permitted. The UN has finally woken up to the human rights violations in China. China, though, is unlikely to give access. It wants to make the Uyghurs fewer and fewer in number until they disappear. Bureau Report, Beyond World is One.